Hello, friends of YouTube. Israel here again. Um, I would, I just wonder, as for anyone who's been watching this, um, what your experience has been as far as the Lord speaking to you. I'm going to talk today about potentially what this whole thing is all about. And He said it a long time ago. Or early on in this walk that I've been doing with Him, I've been on with Him. So there have not been a tremendous amount of things like this. I remember when I had the first experience with Him, that first profound experience where He was, I don't know if He actually put His hands on me or what happened, but that surge of like euphoria that was just like pulsating through my body and kept intensifying, which I talked about. But towards the end of that first encounter, I said, "What would you have me do?" And shouldn't be of any surprise, but He simply said, "Be still." And I know that from Psalm somewhere. Be still and know I'm the Lord. And that's what He told me. He told me to be still. And it was I want to say somewhat surprising. I'd never had an encounter with God, and so I didn't really know what to expect. But I certainly didn't expect, He wasn't asking me to do anything. Be still, man. And that's, as I've gotten to know Him, it kind of ties into why I'm even doing this. A couple other things that he said. One time he told me, straight up, like, "You are wrong." That was intense. I mean, like a presence came, like I visually saw this, like a shadow almost, and it came and like I felt them in my teeth. "You are wrong," and I was wrong. But that was wild. That was so wild. And as other things come to me, I'll certainly discuss them. But the only time He ever gave me instruction, as in, because I would repeatedly ask, like, "What would you have me do?" Because it seemed odd to me that I would have such a profound encounter and have just such an amazing amount of awesome experiences, like back to back to back to day after day after day after day after day. I couldn't understand, like, how do you not want me to do something? And part of that is, I think about coming to Him as a child, coming to Him as a little child, and being dependent on Him completely. I had a little bit of a probably pity party earlier tonight, where I thought, um, that not like I'm not worthy and all this other stuff, not like that, but like I'm always going to be the weak link in this relationship. It's impossible for that not to be the case. Um, and I don't really think that's what he's going for. I don't think that's how he wants me to think. That I'm just completely inept, which is how I, feel sometimes. Um, so, with all of that being said, um, the the one time he actually told me to do something, um, well, I won't say the only time, but one time when he gave me like a directive, he said, um, "Tell them what it's like to be anointed." He didn't say who. He didn't say when. He didn't say how. He just said, "Tell them." I think tell them what it means to be anointed. And so I want to try to do that. Um, and all I can do is explain. Um, Obviously, there's plenty in his word. Um, the Book of Acts is a good place to look at the the Gospels. Anything that came straight from his mouth. Those are all great places to look, and you'll find you know profound wisdom in his words and in his parables and those things like that. But what being anointed so far means, um, it means, first of all, there is absolutely no ambiguity, there's no question, there's no room for debate on my salvation. And he worked with me on that. He worked and he showed me different things over and over and over and over and over and over, and I quite frankly wasn't getting it, because what I was seeing was um, different depictions of like saved, not saved, saved, not saved, saved, not saved, until finally he showed me something that's very hard to explain. But he talks that one of the parables that he spoke on was the parable of the net. And he was on the boat with, he had just met um, Simon, and he had Simon show that, like, some people there that were following Jesus at the time, his fishing net. He had been fishing and he hadn't caught anything all day, and he was he was wanting Simon to explain, okay, well, what is the net for? Well, the net, you cast the net out and you catch fish with it. And in The Chosen, I found it very well put, where he emphasized all kinds of fish. And he was looking at Simon to let him know, like, you cast it and you catch all kinds of fish. And he says at the end of the age, the angels are going to basically cast net for this parable, to catch us, and then he's going to sort them out. And I say all that to say this. What I saw, I truly believe, was a depiction of that. It was, I'm not going to get into how, because it is so in depth. I would be here for hours trying to explain it to you, and I would leave stuff out. But just know there were like stations, and there were people, and they were going through like a process, and as you go through this process, like some people go on to the next process, and some people keep repeating this process, and then after they repeat this process so long, they kind of drop down to another process, and I was in that, and he showed me, quite frankly, where there were places where I fell short. We all fall short, but specifically, like to go from this sorting process to the next sorting process, and it had this whole thing to do with my eyes, and there were these glasses, and they're constantly washing my eyes, and which I find interesting considering the seer gift that he's given me. That there was constant attention paid to my eyes, and but in any case, I don't know if it was like why he showed me in particular, like where was going through this process, and where there were times where something would come to like intercept me, and um, he would uh, intercede. He would knock the heck out of them, and they'd go flying, and I would keep going. And then there was other times where I didn't make it up. It's like when I say a process, it's like a man. It's so hard to explain. Um, um, it's as if you were on a trail, or on a path or something. But there are certain places where like you have to jump from one platform to the next, or something like that. And um, based on, I don't know what based on what, but some people for whatever reason didn't make the jump, and they would fall, and they would go back, and they would start this whole process again. And that's as did I, several times. But then like he caught me, and he carried me to the next. He carried me to the next ledge, or sometimes like bypass the next several and take me up to this point. And um, I can tell you that my experience, um, that like mimics my walk with him, because I mean I fall short a lot, um, like a lot, and and so, and the way this was depicted was like, I mean, it was in a room, and like my bedroom at the time, and the floor was like, I mean, this is all with like tens of thousands of, or hundreds of that, or I don't know how many, but there were people represented in this, and I was in this representation of people in it. But in like a, I don't know, 10 by 12 room, you know, that encompassed everything. So, like, you're talking about like very small. And then, anyway, so you had the bottom, which was like where the roughest stuff was happening. Um, and you had to do the most. And then you had like the walls, um, which was like a level, a level. I don't really know how to explain it. There were like levels to this, and then the ceiling represented heaven. And then like once you made it up there, like you go through this whole thing, but like that was that. And I wasn't just seeing it; like I was having to participate in it. I was having to I was. I can't even explain it. And the thing that didn't make any sense is that there were so many other people other than me in this that I was seemingly influencing somehow. I don't understand that. That's not biblical, and I don't want to go down a path of saying false things. Okay, I'm just telling you this is what it looked like. Um, and I really struggled with this because it wasn't biblical. Like you're not saved and then unsaved, and saved and unsaved, and saved and unsaved. Like that's not biblical. And but this is what I kept seeing over and over. And I mean, I'm saying over and over. I'm talking about months, like more than a year. Um, at first, I didn't realize what I was seeing. It was like a game. But then later, I mentioned in the last video that I took a 7 week hiatus. Like this is when this happened during that 7 weeks, um, and um, finally, you know, he showed me all the way up to, you know, to the ceiling, and you know, people would drop from the ceiling, but at the end of the day, every day, you're taking it and I don't want to. This is absolutely what I experienced, what I saw, but I don't want to say the wrong thing. Um, it's like in your daily walk through life, when you do sin, when you do fall, um, he was depicting how he would catch you and take you back. And there was, you know, there was, it was like him and something else. There were two entities that would work together. Um, and then there was, you know, well, there were actually three. The third one was like, and that was the other thing. I could ask for help at any time. At any time, if I asked for help, I would be given help. And the third entity was like was the light. Like that's where the entity was at the light. And whenever that entity would come into play, it's like it would just come get me and take me where I needed to go. I didn't have to keep to go through this because I mean you have. I mean, it's too complex to describe. Um, but the whole point of all of this is that he took the time to show me that I was saved, and literally the words appeared on the wall that said, "Fear not, fear not." And so consequently, I fear not. So when I say there's no ambiguity, that there's no question in my mind. Like it's so freeing. To be anointed is like the biggest Braveheart freedom that you could ever scream. Like it is freedom. It is freedom. It is power. Um, it is love like you've never, like you can't imagine. You cannot imagine. Um, Towards the end of that, um, something else, other words showed up on the wall, and it's sad, and I didn't understand, and I didn't understand. I didn't understand every one of these. I didn't tell you this part. You're a baby. You're an infant. You're like a newborn baby going through this whole gauntlet. And same thing about glasses and the different stages, and the stages were the way I could see the difference is you had different colored, like the rims of your glasses would be different colors, all the way up until they were just transparent. Um, um, but there was um, like a pair of glasses that once he put those glasses on you, something like a beast would come and take it from him and go to the floor and then go down. And that's when he said it's sad. Like an infant, like the side, like an infant, like for me to hold, like that side, like that image showed up, and he put this like mask on this baby, and it squealed like a dog when it yelled, like, um, and then that thing came and it took the baby away, and um, I remember just just crying at that point, and and um, saying I'm sorry, my king. My heart breaks for you. It said it's lonely at the top. And he didn't come here to condemn us. That's not why he came. Had he done that, or came for that reason, why would he have went to the cross and went through all of that? And if we could save ourselves, again, why would he come and go to Calvary and get beaten seemingly to death and then nailed to a tree? So, um, when he said it's sad, he was showing me his heart. He doesn't want to do that. I mean, it's a baby. Would you want to do that? So by not accepting him and not repenting, you're forcing him to do that. You are his creation. He does not want to do that. Why do you think he hasn't showed up yet? You think things are going great? I will tell you this, I saw in that whole thing so much mercy. So much mercy. Another thing that I saw, it has to do with the eyes. He would, if you are in this station, I'll call it, or have been calling it, and you don't move to the next one, like something was done to you that was meant to make it impossible for you to go from to go anywhere forward, but just to keep going down and down and down and down. And to prevent that, they would come and it was bizarre. It was like it was depicted like you're like kind of sat in like this high chair type thing, and then they like scrub your eyes with like steel wool or something. He would slide just as the impact was coming. He would slide in, and he would take it for you. And the way that seems to me, going back to being anointed, is every time every time, at least during this process, that you screw up, which is a lot. He steps in for you, and he takes whatever the punishment is. So, I struggle a lot with complaining. With complaining. And I repent for it a lot. It's not that I don't mean it, but none of us have a right to complain. Not at all. I'll share one more thing and then I'm going to end this. I was having a issue at work. This amazing job that he's set me up with. And there's maybe some people there that don't pull their weight. And I was complaining. I was murmuring, as it were, that it's not fair. And he reminded me, and not in an ugly way, not in a smart alecky way, not in anything like that. But if things were fair, I'd be in hell. And so would you. So praise God, things aren't fair. If you stayed through that, God bless you. And I thank you. And I hope that if you're watching this and you have not submitted to God, and you have not confessed that you're a sinner and that you need a Savior, which is really what it takes, give Him your heart. And you probably think, or at least I know I did, what could He possibly want with my heart? I could list 1,000 reasons before lunch why that would be what He should want. But He does want it. He loves you. And He does not. He does not. And it's His call. He does not want to send you to hell. He does not. There is nothing that you've done, nothing that He can't fix. Nothing. So thank you for listening. I pray that that He gave you ears to hear. And if this touched your heart, or if he spoke to you through it, if you care about somebody, you might want to share it. And as I said before, the wages of sin is death. However, you can live today. You can live like you've never lived before. I promise you that. So God bless you. And I love you. Have a great day.